what I really want to talk about this morning is perceptual fields. So we don't see the world as it is, right? We see the world as we perceive it to be. Say that again. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we perceive it to be. And our perceptual filter from ego often has a lot of influence based on our upbringing, right? Based on our experiences, based on our belief systems, our paradigms, minds that we spend a lot of time with, right? Our current surroundings and environment, they all shift how we perceive the world. And you could take two people from different upbringings in a similar area and perceive their environment completely different. And actually, and this is, I'm not even just saying, like, but they actually see things differently. That's really important to know as a chiropractor. Because whatever level of perception you bring to the chiropractic table is how you will perceive that person. Meaning that if I go to table and I choose to perceive fixation, dysfunction, dis-ease, stuck joint, that is what I'm opening myself up to see. I would suggest in doing that, you create separation from you and to them. Some people would prefer that, right? But then it becomes, it's you doing something to somebody, right? That, you know, oh, I'm the doctor. And you needing to fix something, or they're going to you for the fix. And that could lead to a cure, but curing is different than healing. Really good book that I'm diving into right now is Shaman Healer Sage, and he goes into that very deeply. It's a beautiful book. And what I'm realizing more and more every day, the more shaman books I read, is that at the depth of the principle of chiropractic at its fullest, it's very in alignment with indigenous shamanistic philosophy on healing. Healing restores somebody to their infinite. It has the potential to restore, it was restoring people to their wholeness, really, right? To their full self. You can have somebody cured of a symptom but not heal. And a healing can occur and somebody still have symptoms. In order to move into healing, you know, people rediscovering their wholeness, their infinite self, you have to move past the perceptual lens of just physical body. So what I'm realizing is that level 1 is giving you a perceptual lens of primarily facet joint. I think there is a learning process here. You can't bypass stages of learning and development. Like, some of us, you know, we see certain people work and we want to just do that. You gotta understand, like, you gotta, you know, crawl before you walk. If you don't crawl before you walk, you get fucked up neurodevelopmentally, right? You see this in young adults. So there's certain patterns and ways that you perceive human beings and self that are necessary stages of growth. And if you skip them, or try to skip them or bypass them, then you're really working on a weak foundation. Right? So level 1, we teach certain movement patterns, right? And this is designed to help you sustain being a chiropractor, getting you in ideal positions, and understand what an ideal position is that causes the less strain on your joints and potentially less likelihood for injury. Level 2, we start to move into some adaptation patterns, meaning, yes, this might be ideal, and at times you're going to be able to flow, and your spine should be able to flex and extend, and you're not just going to do this all the time, all right? And in level 3, it just keeps going. You know, a fully functional body is capable of a lot of range of motion. But if you don't have the foundation built in understanding where to originate from for sustainability, then you can get hurt. So level 1 also goes into really starting to connect to the tonal vibration of what happens when you do have dysfunction within a facet joint. We know the bones are also an element of piezoelectric, which most chiropractors will start to not only just sense this is locked here, it doesn't move here, there's hypertonicity of these muscles here, you actually sense the buzz of when a joint is off. Think about it. When two piezoelectric materials are in correct function and harmony, there's less dissonance, or you just don't pick it up because you're tapped into harmony, peace, vibration of love, right? But when they're off, now there's actually a charge that can be palpated. The first time I realized this is when I went on my honeymoon, which was, what were you doing, weirdo? Which was the summer of 2013. I just, right before I graduated. And I had been adjusting a lot of people, actually. So I was doing pretty well in clinic, but I was also like one of the go-to people for all of the other students. And so now that I'm out of school, I was adjusting in a lot of other places outside of clinic. And I was seeing probably like 50, 60 people a week, you know, my last couple quarters of school on average. And so we go, for the first time, we go on vacation, and we're in Mexico, and I started like getting this itch, right? Like this charge, and I was like I had a problem, you know? Like I needed this chiropractic thing. And, but what I realized is like I'd been like really become like addicted or attracted to the buzz. The buzz that happens from one, detecting the buzz, but then also delivering and actually the feelings and endorphins that go through that, because eventually when you start to get clear, you're also experiencing that same endorphin release when you're adjusting somebody. It's wild, right? Most people are like, oh damn, that was nice. But like I get like the same like feeling and sensation adjusting somebody usually as they get receiving the adjustment. And so I was craving it, so I started adjusting all the people there. I started adjusting like the wait staff and my Pilates instructor. And so that's one level of perception, is being able to discover facet joint dysfunction and fixation. We're going to move further in increasing the perceptual fields this weekend. And we'll move into discovery of the disc and also potential of just allowing yourself and being willing to open beyond the physical for the tonal qualities of emotion. Every emotion has a vibration, and most of you have started to already identify this, right? We know certain emotions put us in a sympathetic state, which is high vibration or low vibration? High. Some emotions put us in a low vibratory state, which is parasympathetic or sympathetic? Parasympathetic. Anger and rage, is it high vibration or low vibration? Where would you imagine it usually resides in the body? It's upper, back, shoulders, and sometimes chest, for the most part. Right? If I'm yelling, "Oh, you motherfucker, I can't believe you!" It's all here. right? Yeah, shit, man. By the way, if you guys want to, I've taught a workshop on this in 2017, and then I did it with Lauren Kodik in 2018, and then I did one in Germany last year in 2019. But I do a whole seminar and workshop on discovering emotion. You went to it, yeah. If you are interested in that, let me know. I could see if I could bring it back again this year. But we go through the big 8 emotions, and then you actually start to identify where they tend to reside in the body, what's the tonal quality of it, how to pick it up within yourself, how to pick it up in somebody else. It's just, because every single emotion can be experienced in the now. Did you know that? Every single emotion. You could choose to experience in the now because the emotional qualities will follow what you do with your physiology. They teach us in neuro-linguistic programming, 55% of the language of the nervous system is through the physiology. So you start to alter your physiology by knowing what certain emotional tones do to the physiology. Eventually you just feel those things. So depression, low vibration, high vibration. One of the lowest. When somebody has really low energy or tone in their system, it's really hard to work with. So Donnie Epstein has a beautiful quote. He said, I'd rather have you angry than depressed because anger I can do something with. So if you allow yourself, all it is an allowing of perceptual fields to sink in with somebody and saying, what's this tone? Because you might have just only had your tone on your perception on the physical space. And you say, well, if this is here, it's just as easy as asking the question within yourself. Why? Because most of us will go to the neck. You could pick up the neck. That neck's fucked up. You pick it up. Yeah, it doesn't rotate this way. Start asking yourself the next question. I wonder why. And it's from that space that eventually you might get an emotion. And it will start to come in different ways. Right? You'll just identify that tone. Oh man, I remember. I've been there. I remember that tone in my body. What that feels like. Right? Who here has hugged somebody that lost somebody? It's a very specific tone. Who here's embraced somebody who just gave their first child, or just had their first child? It's a different tone. Who here has embraced somebody on their wedding day? Different tone, right? So is that jazzercise? Yeah. They're going ham. I didn't know jazzercise. I thought jazzercise died out. I guess it's still around. All right.
It's a boxing gym right there. Though.
Oh, it's
then it's jazzercise. It's both.
Oh, it's both. Okay. I'm like, jazzercise got a little harder than I remember. So all emotions can be discovered and connected to what's it require? It requires more presence within yourself, more space within yourself, stillness, right? Often what happens is if you're the chaos, the storm, you can't detect anything that's going on with anybody else. And if wanting to enter those spaces, you can be doing harm. Right? Because if you're saying, I want to open up and feel this person's emotion, but you're a fucking wreck inside, you're opening up a connection at a different level, right? And there's transmission that's happening, whether you know it or not. That's why I say chiropractic has more to do with your being than your doing. There's more happening than meets the eye in your interaction. Some of us might have interns, and you go to see them, and they're bitching about their day, right? They're talking about, oh man, paperwork sucked today. And after a while, you're like, man, I fucking hate going to see that person. But it's more than just the words. It's the tone and what they're putting off and what you're receiving. So that's another perceptual field, right? Moving into the mental, emotional, potentially, but also just moving into detecting things beyond the facet, moving into disc. It continues. As you move into chord, that I believe has more connection to spirit and to all. And there's a different style of movement. There's a different style of connection. There's a different style of release and unwinding. There's a different connection to the pattern, an ability to break free from the pattern, and it's a different perceptual field. And it continues. The beauty here is usually when you're getting started in this process, you put one on at a time. So this is what I share from my story. I only have my experience, right? But what would happen is I would go into practice and I'd be like, today I really want to focus in at the level of the disc. So like it was like legitimately for 3 months straight, all I was perceiving every time I connected to the spine is how is the disc moving within the spine and in relationship to the other disc along the spine. And then I would adjust through the disc. I would connect through the disc. I'd listen and palpate the disc, all of it. And I just like became water. I want to know the disc. I want to be a disc, and then I'm going to feel the disc, and right? But I learned a lot about disc. And you can do that for each layer, right? And so as you master the facet, then change your perceptual lens. And then change your perceptual lens. And for those of you that are doing adjusting nights, that's a great opportunity. Tonight we're showing up and all the perception we're going to have is on when you connect to another human being, you're connecting to the level of the spinal cord. You're connecting at the level of the disc. You're connecting at the level of the facet. You're connecting at the cellular layer. You're connecting whatever it is, connecting and giving yourself to different perceptual lenses. Eventually what happens is you can hold more than one perspective at one time. Donnie also talks about the efficiency of your energetic pattern and the abundance of your energy that you are able to have a capacity for is based on your ability to hold multiple perspectives at one time. That's cool. So instead of thinking I gotta you had those old school fucking like goggle things you put on and you click it and it was a new image and you click it and it's a new that's sometimes you think like that's your perception thing, right? You're like, oh facet, disc. Eventually you're like the fucking kaleidoscope and you're just like, I'm everything. And I don't know where the fuck that came from. Your ability to do that, though, right, is based on your level of training. In order to have multiple perceptual fields at one time, it requires a grand reorganization of your energetic capacity, right? So we become more efficient in our ability to both transmit and receive energy as we organize the energy in our nerve system, which comes from adaptations to our nerve system. Every chiropractic adjustment should be an upgrade to your nerve system. Unless you're getting adjusted the same way every time. Then you're just stuck and you're in maintenance. Who likes maintenance? Maintenance actually doesn't exist in human nature, by the way. Did you know that? There is nothing in nature being maintained. Nothing. It's either being destroyed or it's being created. It's either moving to dysfunction or function. It's either moving to dis-ease or ease. It's either moving to sickness or to health. Nothing's being maintained. So that means each and every one of us have an opportunity every single day to evolve our energetic capacity, to evolve our nerve system, to evolve in adaptation, to evolve in our ability to serve others and self. To evolve as a husband or a wife or a father or a mother or daughter or son or whatever it is, to evolve. It's going one way or the other. It's not maintaining. Nothing's maintaining. There's the artistry talk for today. Anyway. Does that make sense?